Blinken, assuming it's not classified, can you tell us where you are today?
Yes, I'm at the State Department.
Oh, couldn't be bothered to come down here and see Congress. All right, that's great. Hey,
Sir, excuse me, sir. My understanding is that the House is not in session, and that's why the session has been.
I'm right here, Secretary. So's the chairman. So's the ranking member.
We're
here. Mr. Chairman, reclaiming my time. Did state at any point in the evacuation process block American citizens from leaving Afghanistan?
No, we did not.
None. Your testimony before Congress is that state didn't block any American citizens leaving Afghanistan.
To the contrary, my officers, men and women, ran into the building from around the world to help Americans get out.
It's a simple yes or no. I heard you do it with Mr. Connolly. You can do it with me. Yes or no? I just want to clarify. You didn't block anybody. State didn't block any American citizens.
No.
Okay.
They were there to help Americans get out.
How many Afghans not meeting the qualifications of SIV have been brought to the United States? Prior to, I want to know how many Afghan citizens came to the United States that had not met the qualifications for special immigrant visa.
We're in the process of
no. How
going
many?
through.
How many? How many did you bring? You were just at Dulles. How many did you bring?
We will have, by the end of the month, we will have brought a total of approximately 60,000
that have not met the SIV process.
Some of those will have been through the SIV process. All of them, regardless of SIV status, will have gone through rigorous security checks. First at the transit points outside of the United States.
It'd be nice if that was done before we brought these people to the United States of America. Mr. Secretary, are Afghan refugees required to be vaccinated for COVID before coming to the United States of America?
They are vaccinated in the United States before they are resettled into the United States.
There are none of these Afghan citizens that are allowed to leave these resettlement communities, Fort Dix, Dulles, et cetera, that are allowed to leave at any time they want. None of them are leaving unless they are vaccinated for COVID. Is that your testimony?
They're tested for COVID and vaccinated for COVID.
Vaccinated before they leave?
That's my understanding.
All right, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Is it the policy of the United States of America to take hard-earned tax dollars and pay terrorist organizations?
It is not.
It is not. So your testimony earlier is that we're sending taxpayer dollars to Afghanistan right now for humanitarian relief. Who are we sending that to?
To NGOs and to the United Nations agencies who are using that assistance, not to the Afghan government.
Not to the Afghan, the Taliban government. How are you accounting for that? How are you making sure that the Taliban government is not receiving that?
As we do around the world in places of conflict where we provide humanitarian assistance, working through UN, working through NGOs with long-tested methods to make sure that the assistance provided goes to the people who need it, not to the government in question.
Is it your understanding that over the past 20 years, the United States taxpayers have paid Pakistan, who has then used that money to support the Taliban, the Haqqani Network, ISIS-K, Khorasan Group, et cetera, for the past 20 years? Is that not true?
There's a long history that we should all look at together.
Right.
About the involvement of Pakistan.
So I would say that we should no longer pay Pakistan and we should pay India. Let me ask you this. I just have a couple more questions for you. A little off topic here, but I think it's interesting. How long was your recent interview with the FBI, and was it a deposition?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're referring.
Are you saying that you have not had a recent interview with the FBI since becoming Secretary of State?
I'm not sure what you're referring to, and I'm happy to take that up with you offline.
Did the State Department turn over documents to the FBI related to Hunter Biden, Burisma, and or the Blue State Strategies Corporation?
You'll have to.
So you have no knowledge of this. You have had no. You don't. Are you saying you have not had an interview with the FBI since becoming Secretary of State?
It would not be appropriate for me to comment in a public forum on any legal proceedings that the department.
I'm not asking you to cooperate. I'm not asking you to comment on the legal proceedings. I'm just asking if you've been interviewed by the FBI since becoming Secretary of State.
Again, I'm not going to comment one way or another on any legal proceedings or not that may or may not have happened.
Have you sought to... Let me remind the gentleman that the topic of this hearing is Afghanistan. That's what we're.
I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman, but the Secretary generally refuses to answer questions about Afghanistan, so I just figured we'd talk about something he should be intimately familiar with. Have you sought to alter any of your testimony from last year's Senate investigation regarding this topic? Mr. Secretary.
Gentleman's time has expired. And let me also, for the record, make clear that this is a hybrid hearing. Just as members had an option to come or to be other places, the Secretary also. It's a hybrid hearing because we are not in session.
Mr. Chairman,
I now
point of
recognize-
inquiry, Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry, if I could.